Hello everyone. I'm going to do the bonus read for you. People talking about the difference with the uploads to YouTube. So I've been uploading from my camera and then uploading to YouTube. But this particular video is directly to YouTube. So I'm actually taping on the YouTube channel. I stopped doing it this way because people kept complaining about not being able to hear me. So I went out and bought a really good microphone and set up my camera to do things separately. But apparently people are still having trouble because it's not me, it's YouTube. But anyway, we'll prove it to you by showing you two completely different videos, and I bet people will still say, I can't hear this one, or I can hear this one. So it's very interesting. It's just something to do with the technology they use. Unfortunately, I can't adjust my settings on YouTube. All right, we're going to use the Wizard's Tarot for this reading. Let's see where we're going. Oh, I love it. Death. Okay. So the Death card is a card that talks about change. It can talk about deep change. It can talk about gradual change, but it says that change is required here. So it could be the letting go of something or doing something a very different way. But whatever the Death card brings, and as I'm saying that, I'm seeing the leaves falling off the trees and autumn coming through here. You know, everything has to go through a progression. Everything has to, you know, live and die as it needs to, the same as we do. The day we're born, we start to die. That's just how it is. So for everything, there is a cycle. And when the Death card comes around, it says to me, something is ready to be let go here in order to have a brand new beginning. So the Ace of Wands is a beautiful new beginning because it's something that you're doing with passion here. So this is not a beginning where, you know, you're sort of just slugging along. This is feeling that new beginning, wanting that new beginning, wanting to move in a brand new direction. And that's coming through very, very strongly with this Ace of Wands. All right, then we have the Tower. And I'm seeing a lot of the Tower lately. I love the Tower in this deck. So we see a person or two people, I think, in the traditional tarot being thrown from a tower. And the idea is the way you've been believing things to be and the stability you thought you had is no longer the way that you thought it would be. So you've built something on what we see as a faulty foundation. So, for example, if you have an idea that people should behave in a certain way, every time that person or those people misbehave, then you can get upset about it, which means that you've built your world on the premise that everybody should behave in that particular way. I see that as self-righteousness, but it's sort of what it says is it can't operate that way because it wasn't meant to work that way. If you've built your idea on, you know, people should always treat me this way, or the world should work that way, when it doesn't work that way, then you become the disappointed one. You're the one that gets really upset because your way of thinking is from your own perspective. And again, self-righteousness is something we're taught. We obviously have parents who do that. I always vote Liberal, so therefore everybody in my family votes Liberal all the way through. And you want to vote differently, but because your family have always done that, you'll keep voting for Liberal. It's that sort of energy. So when the Tower collapses, it means that finally you're seeing through some sort of illusion that you've built for yourself that things work in a particular way. All right, and then we have the Chariot coming forward. So I feel like here, now that you've understood that you've been thinking about something in a certain way that perhaps is not really working that way, you now have the ability to move forward and rebuild something from that Tower. And the Eight of Cups is coming through. So you're leaving something behind here. I've seen this a lot in the readings this morning, both on YouTube and on TikTok. There is an energy of leaving something behind. I'm not so sure for some of you it's about so much about a relationship. It's about you understanding how to leave behind a certain way of doing things. So, for example, if you've continuously had relationships that have broken down and they all seem to have broken down for the same reasons, then maybe you have to understand something within yourself. I read something the other day, and I did put it up somewhere, which said the reason we keep repeating relationships like that is because we are fearing rejection. So somehow or another, we pick people that we know are going to reject us for that reason, because it sort of supports that illusion that we believe that we're not good enough. So if you're always doing the same thing over and over, you may have a belief about yourself that isn't true. So I feel like this is what you're coming to see this week. All right, so let's have a look at what's going on here. So we have a number of cards coming through that are major arcanas this morning. And for me, that means that the universe is sort of sweeping through everybody here with similar messages about, maybe going back and seeing how you see your world and how you can change that on some level. The Strength card for me always talks about our shadow side. It talks about those aspects of ourselves that perhaps have been given to us as small children that live within us that don't belong to us. It may be that, a parent has taught you a certain thing. You learnt something at school, a school friend. It's usually somebody who has influence over you. It could be the church. It could be your religious beliefs. But whatever it is, you've been taught something from a very young age that you still believe is true. Romantic love is one of those things. We still believe in romance. Some people just aren't romantic. Does it believe that is it a belief of theirs that romance doesn't exist? I feel like here something is being shown to you with this shadow. You're seeing something for the first time, and it's time to go back with that tower and sort of abolish what you've believed and have a look at things very differently. Do you always believe that people should do things a certain way? I was talking about this, so I feel like this has come up already this week, because I was talking the other day about the environment. I have a strong, always have from the time I was young, a strong belief that we look after the world we live in. So if I see people littering, throwing cigarettes out of cars, driving really poorly, disrespecting other people, I believe in my heart of hearts that is the wrong thing to do. But other people aren't raised that way. So if they're doing what they're doing, it's because of the way they were raised and their own beliefs. So if they don't match yours, you can't beat yourself up about that. So I feel like with the shadow side, you're recognizing something that you've not seen before. So maybe it's time to sort of go back to the drawing board and accept people for who they are. You can't change people. You can gradually nudge some people. Sometimes when people are really racist, I'll give them a little nudge. But if they don't respond, I figure, well, at least I've given them that nudge. Maybe they'll work out something further down the track. But because their beliefs are different, it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. It just means they believe something different to you. You can't change that. You can't control people. 2 of Cups here. So I feel like for some of you, this may be a relationship that we're talking about here. Maybe you're seeing something in your current relationship or in the prospect of a new relationship. It's really hard, when you believe things to be a certain way. I mean, we've seen that in the world with the whole, vaccination thing. How some people believe in vaccination and some people don't. And it's caused a lot of conflict. But at the end of the day, if that person wants to believe what they want to be, that's fine. That's their belief. So we just have to do what's right for us. We can't control other people. But here, I see a relationship. 7 of Swords is here, where somebody may have done something here that doesn't fit well with your idea of how things should be done. So we've got the 7 of Swords, which always talks about somebody trying to get away with something. The 2 of Cups here tells me that this is a close bond that you have with someone here. Could be a child here with the Page of Wands. Maybe your child is having, or a child around you is having difficulty understanding the way you are. Like, for example, I have a really strong belief in, as a parent, we have a great responsibility to teach our children boundaries. But some people have none. Some people have none, and their children grow up floundering because they're facing a world where some people believe that they should have boundaries, and when they're not acting within that, it becomes very difficult for a person to work with. But some people don't have any boundaries. They let their children just roam free, and they feel that that is the way to raise children. Is that wrong? Well, that is That's just how it is. Whether it's wrong or right is irrelevant. You can complain about it, buckle about it, get cheesed off about it, whatever you like. But at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility to control that. So all you can do is, as I say, is you can role model good behavior for people and hope that, or even, like I said, nudge, just sort of talk about your own opinion, and hopefully, if your opinion sort of somewhat resonates with the other person, they may change the way they see things, but you can't make them change. So we have a King of Wands here. So for some of you could be dealing with a Leo, Sag or Aries here. But whoever this person is, I feel like you have a very tight bond with them. And I feel like perhaps they're performing or doing something in a way that doesn't fit with your schema. The Sun card is here. Look, the Sun card is here with the Justice card, which says to me, whatever this is, you can change things around here, because the Sun card, as I always say, lightens the whole reading. And for me, next to the Justice card, it means you can bring some sort of peace to this relationship, this connection you have with this person, by just opening up the communication. There is something about this situation that is out of balance. And what that says to me is you're working with a person who sees things one way and you see something completely differently. You may never agree on how things need to be done. You may never understand that. But it may even impact the way you see things, in which case that tower will come down. So I feel like here the tower is throwing both people out of it. Perhaps you're both learning with each other. You're both learning to see things a different way. Seven of Pentacles coming through with the Four of Swords and the Page of Swords. There is definitely some strong conversations taking place here, but I really want to say this, whatever this situation is, and I feel like somehow this came across a little bit in the What's Cracking reading. Don't sort of despair of this relationship at this point. For some of you, it may not be able to move forward. But for me, looking at the energies in these cards, this has, with the Sun card here, especially the Justice card next to it, this strong feeling here that you can make something work by learning to talk and agree. Even if you can't completely agree on something, coming to some determination here. And I feel like here, especially with that tower, it's about you letting go of your old ideas and rebuilding something between the two of you. So even if your ideas are completely different, there seems to be a midway point here that you can both agree on. Don't let this ruin a relationship you've got with someone if you can salvage that tower or rebuild that tower with a completely different idea of who you are and what you're working towards. Neither person has to change. It's just about finding the common ground between you. Because I feel like here this is very possible, but it comes with communication. But I definitely see here with this Seven of Pentacles, there is a need for you both, or both of you want to build for the future. I feel like this is Leo energy coming through here. So you could be dealing with someone who has strong Leo in their chart. I've got 3 Leo cards here. But for me, the sign of Leo is about powering forward. It's about really doing things with passion, which is the Ace of Wands energy. But I feel like no matter what, you can rebuild with someone here. But there needs to be a conversation for you both to get on the same page. All right, but something has to change with that Death card. Because there's a brand new beginning in front of you. But in order to have that, the old has to be broken down to make way for the new. So that you can move forward. The Eight of Cups tells me there may be a time to walk away from something. We have the Nine of Pentacles again here, which I feel really strongly was in the last reading where this sort of came through after this sort of energy. Now, the Nine of Pentacles talks about independence. It talks about being satisfied with where you are, having everything you want where you are. Now, this doesn't mean you're necessarily going to become single. But maybe by making the choice, you can both have healthy interdependence within your relationship. And interdependence is the most healthy relationship, where you both have your own things, you both follow your own ideas, but you work together. So whatever this is for you, it looks to me like some sort of conversation needs to take place here. Some sort of communication with this person. All right, we have the High Priestess clarifying that with the King of Cups and the Knight of Cups. It almost feels to me like there's a brand new beginning within this situation. And it feels like that with the Ace of Wands. So if you're in a situation with somebody where you really want to be with them and you really love them and you have this beautiful connection here, but you can't seem to get on the same page with things, then that conversation needs to take place. Because I feel like there's love between you here, but you're both perhaps coming from this perspective. You're not working together. You're working sort of at loggerheads here. So for some of you, this may be a child or a relative, but for others of you, it does look like a romantic relationship. Oh, she wants to come out. Whirling Goddess. Ooh. Oh my goodness, I'm clumsy today. And I shouldn't say that either, should I? What a clumsy thing to do. Okay, lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of a needle. I have a feeling I've read this just recently because I remember the eye of the needle bit. Okay, let's just read the oracle for this one. This oracle brings you a message. You are at the point of growth where your mind can hold you back rather than urge you forward. If you have, like so many, used your mind to support you, to shore up your sense of self in the world and to gain a sense of certainty about how the world works, then this is no easy leap. It will seem as if you're being asked to pass through the keyhole. Of course, your mind will stop and argue for all the reasons why the door should be opened instead of remaining closed, making the task seem so much harder than it needs to be. But this is the mind in resistance. Don't place too much stock in the claims that life should be other than it is. You're being asked to dance rather than understand, to lay the thoughts to rest and to come alive. It is the bravest, most trusting soul that dares to put the mind to one side and say, "Tonight we dance, my heart and I, in the great rousing music of the beloved's beating heart, and I will not miss one step," and to awaken the next day and do it all over again and again and again. It says here, you are ready, you see, sweet soul dancer. You are ready to live beyond what you know, to have it not matter if you don't understand how life can work itself out, or how it can be that someone so normal and ordinary as you and I could also be so magnificent, wild and divine. The need for answers and plans, assurances and explanations is passing out of your world now. You do not wait for permission, for explanation, or for even another dance partner, for I'm already inviting you onto the great dance floor. I feel like here you're being asked to just let go and understand the world isn't exactly as you thought it would be. So sometimes we have to open our mind to new things, to changes, and changes within ourselves. I'll leave you with that. Thank you.